Dietrich is a rural, small, progressive farming community with a current population of around 890 residents. To some, what has seemed as relatively quick progress was really started over 30 years ago with the foundation laid for all of our current growth and progress. There's not one group or one person that's responsible for what we've been able to accomplish. In reality, it's many people in several groups that have made Dietrich what they are today. In 1989, the EJ Water Cooperative was formed to serve members of Effingham and Jasper County with good quality water. Everyone knows that water is life, and you need a good supply of quality water if you're going to grow and remain a viable community. We're proud that EJ Water started their headquarters on Main Street and still remain there today. In the mid-1990s, Dietrich school enrollment was around 600 students, grades K through 12. Community leaders knew that decline was inevitable as all the large families with many children were aging out of our school district, and none of those kids were coming back to Dietrich to start their families. One of the reasons being there wasn't a place for them to move back to, as there is such low stock of housing in our community. The community leaders knew they couldn't just sit back and watch the decline. They had to do something about it. And so DCDC, or the Dietrich Community Development Corporation, started exploring ways to spur residential and commercial development in Dietrich. In 1997, the idea of a tax increment financing district was explored, and the DCDC group came to the village board and said, we will pay for the formation and pay for the consultant fees of the first TIF district. And if it works, with the village board being able to repay us for those fees. The agreement was made, and the first TIF district in Dietrich was started in 1997. The village board soon realized the value of TIF-assisted residential and commercial developments. In 2005, the idea for the North Point subdivision was formed, and the village started with one street, 20 lots, just under a half acre each. In just 3 short years, there was a need for a second phase, and our TIF 2 district was formed in 2008 along with the second phase of North Point subdivision. In just 15 short years, 4 phases later, 92 homes were built in our North Point subdivision. The tax base for the community of Dietrich was changed for the better. School enrollment had made a turnaround.
I think the main thing that has really sparked our growth is the school system. As village president for the past 10 plus years, I've been to probably 40 or 50 lot closings. And I always make it a point to ask them at the closing, why Dietrich? And I don't think I ever got an answer that wasn't because of the school. So I think that's our #1 driving force.
As we've continued to grow and through our mapping sessions with Western Illinois University, we have learned that recreation and amenities are really important to residents in our community. The focus on our recreation, spurred from our mapping, has led us to be able to completely revamp our current park pavilion, doubling the size. We've got new pickleball courts, tennis courts, new park equipment, a beautiful new fishing pier and with pond, all in our Liberty Park that I think the residents really truly enjoy that amenity. We've brought over 125 new homes in the last 15 years to Dietrich, and it truly is a special thing to be a part of and to watch this community, the fabric of our community, change in such a great way. And not to be outpaced, not to let the residential outpace itself, but Dietrich is able to boast 2 wonderful new subdivisions, and we also have 2 great industrial parks. The Zimballen Industrial Park was our first industrial park. We have 13 businesses that make their home in Dietrich that change the tax base of Dietrich for the better with our TIF districts in line with that. With all the residential growth came the need for more commercial, industrial, and commercial opportunities as well. And so the village board in 2021, we broke ground for the Dietrich Industrial Park East. So out of the 23 lots that are shovel ready, we already have 13 of those lots sold.
I'm extremely proud of what we've done in this town. I get calls all the time from other mayors, like, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And it's like, we started this 30 years ago. It's great. I love this town.
I'm from Dietrich, Illinois. I'm proud to say I'm come from an agricultural family around Dietrich, Illinois, and Agriculture has been embedded in my family for forever, as long as I can remember, and agriculture is really rooted in the village of Diederich, and it has been since really it was founded. And I can kind of point to a few examples. So at one time, believe it or not, Diederich was known as the red top capital of the world. Now red top might not necessarily be the first thing or the first crop that comes to mind, but I'll tell you a little bit about red top. Red top, back at the turn of the century and in the 20s and 30s, arguably the most important grass seed across the country was red top. Not only was it maybe after fescue, the top 1 or 2 pasture and hay grasses that farmers used to feed livestock and other animals, it was also maybe behind Kentucky bluegrass as the #1 turf grass. And if we think about red top today, maybe it's not quite as prevalent, but back in the, again, 20s and 30s, when agriculture was hard, right? And the world and the country was a little poor, and farming was difficult and challenging, and farmers really tried to do the best they could at produce any kind of crop that would yield. And in our environment in Diederich, where the ground was flat and level and the fertility was fairly low, red top and Timothy seemed to perform very, very well. And consistently, it was something that provided farmers a chance to make a crop. Whereas maybe corn crops from year to year wouldn't maybe do as good, they could always count on Timothy and red top to perform very, very well. Red top was so prominent in Diederich. Again, Diederich was known as the red top capital of the world, and J.M. Schultz, who ran the seed cleaner in Diederich, was known as the red top king, not only across the U.S., but really across the world based off of where red top was all sent. And Diederich is kind of located on the top edge of a 10 to 12 county area where 85% of all of the red top back in the 20s and 30s, again, a very, very important crop, Diederich was kind of in the center of where all of that red top production came from. So think about 7,000 growers yielded 85% of the world's red top crop, and that's how Diederich, Illinois became known as the red top capital of the world. Thinking about the place of Diederich history when I think about red top, if you go down the main highway in Diederich, you can see the seed cleaner, the seed company, and still up top it says Cleaners of Red Top and Timothy. You can kind of make that out a little bit. Today, agriculture still remains a very viable part of our community, and it always will be. Some of our civic leaders and town leaders that are very respected, not only across Diederich, but across Effingham County, are very involved in production agriculture. Not only growers, but obviously other businesses, different ag retailers that provide inputs and services to farmers. They've got businesses in Diederich, Illinois, and it really brings the whole community together. And if it wasn't for agriculture, I don't know necessarily if our town would be as vibrant and growing the way it is today.
In 1975, I was teaching German at Centralia High School. My wife and I were from this area originally, and we wanted to raise our family in this area. So I accepted a position at the Diederich Bank as a teller. 49 years later, I have been involved with the bank. I retired as an employee in 2017, and I retired from the board of directors in February of 2024. Really feel blessed that I was able to spend all these 49 years with the people that I spent with in the bank. Honest, trustworthy, helpful, friendly, fun-loving. They created an environment for our customers and for the staff that was just a pleasant environment. I think customers enjoyed coming to the bank. It was almost a social visit every day from a lot of customers. So I give that a lot of credit for developing what was a good reputation for the bank. A bit on the history of the bank. The bank was chartered in 1909 as the First National Bank of Diederich. We have been in 3 facilities at the bank. The latest one was constructed in 1986. The story about that is that at that time we were an $18 million bank, and we had to get more room, so we were going to build a bigger building. And one of the directors said, "Hey, we're going to build this thing so that we can double in size," which in those days, when we were at $18 million, going to $36 million sounded actually somewhat delusional. But here we are now, we are at $1.3 billion, so it's been a good ride. Part of our bank mission statement says that we want to be a bank whose communities appreciate our presence. That sounds really good, and I think all banks say that, but we wanted to make it more than words. So I think we've been put out a lot of effort in initiating and maintaining the momentum that's going in Diederich as far as changing the community. We worked with them on infrastructure and beautification projects. We supported the school in many different ways. Probably about 35 years ago, we decided to have a customer appreciation picnic where we would serve pork burgers and ice cream and whatever. And so we invited all these people to supper. We had no idea how many would show up. And as it turned out, about 1,000 people showed up, and we had games and all kinds of stuff, and it was a real success. And it has now become an annual event that I think is expected on the community's calendar of events. Well, there are so many connections in these small communities, so many big families. As far as the future is concerned, although Diederich is now the smallest community of all the communities we serve, it will always be appreciated and recognized as a place where it all started. And we certainly plan to continue serving the community, taking care of the businesses and the families of the area.
I am a Fritcher from the Fritcher family in Diederich. So our family was really one of the first, along with a couple of others, that got started in Diederich. Originally came from Germany and moved to Chicago, and then made their way down this way and started north of Diederich, the area kind of north of the Blacktop if you're from around here, and helped form the Lutheran church there. And he did a lot of things, including owned one of the first Ford dealerships that was in America. And he had a son that his name was Grant W. He had a couple of kids, and one of them was Grant Fritcher. And he did a lot for the town with he and HM together. One of the things that really he was helped with in his early life was getting the machine gun company started in Diederich. So he actually joined in 1916, around then. He joined the Illinois 4th Regiment, which was essentially the National Guard at the time. There wasn't really, he enlisted in that. Went down to Mexico and came back. Then he came back, and it was time for America to get involved in World War I. And so he was actually discharged and then re-enlisted. And then along with a lot of other men from Diederich, they decided they wanted a machine gun company. And I tell my students, a company, it means a group of men or a unit, not a, they weren't making machine guns. They wanted to fire machine guns. So and a company is usually 100 to 250 men. So Diederich has the distinction of being the smallest town to send a whole entire company of soldiers. And they were Company G of the 130th Regiment and the 33rd Infantry. They had about 70 men from the Diederich area, and then of course they had to supplement because there wasn't quite enough, and some members from Chicago joined in other places. And they got started by putting a letter in the Diederich Special Gazette that said, "We encourage the men from around here to join this company," and they did. They got called to Texas and went and trained on how to use a machine gun, and eventually went over to France, where they fought in the Meuse-Argonne offensive. And they all made it back. That was a big deal. All of the men that went in the machine gun company made it back. My great-grandpa Grant W. actually was gassed on The last day, on November 11th, he was in a trench in France and was gassed with mustard gas and had to spend some time in the hospital. When the machine gun company came back, they came back in May. They started the day, on the day they came back, with a special church service at the Immaculate Conception Hall. And then they had a parade there. There's a picture of them with the flag that they were so proud of, that represented, it had stars that represented how many men were overseas, and they were pretty proud of that flag. They were instrumental in building the arch, which served as a memorial for all the men that had gone over. They also formed the American Legion post 628 as a way to kind of have some camaraderie with all of the gentlemen that had come back from this war that didn't have anybody else to talk to or talk to that about. So I'm pretty proud to be a Fritcher and have the legacy that these gentlemen have left for us, and I still live in the town and have my whole life, so and don't plan for that to change. But I am proud of the legacy of the Fritcher family and what they've done and how they helped to form and shape the town of Dietrich.
Around 2000, 2001, we started the memorial out at the park. They wanted to incorporate the machine gun memorial, which was the archway, into the memorial. So they decided to have the school kids draw up a design, and that's how they come about the memorial that we have today. 2006, I become the commander of the American Legion, and I have been commander ever since. We participated in the 4th of July parades, the Memorial Day ceremonies, veteran ceremonies. The 4th of July is a real big thing here at Dietrich, and the American Legion always ran the pork booger stand for that. And but just about all the proceeds that the American Legion made went right back into the community. This last September, our Legion got really low on members, and we had to relinquish our charter, so there's no more American Legion in Dietrich. But the guys that did belong felt they wanted to contribute to the village, and so when we sold the building and everything, we took what money we made from it and we donated. We donated, I think, $10,000 to the memorial. We donated another $20,000 to the new Rights building, and we donated $10,000 to the fire department for equipment. And we purchased 2 scholarship funds, which are $1,000 apiece for graduates from high school. And all the Legion has helped the area very much. And the memorial, it started out to be a small memorial, but as people can see, it has really come to be a very beautiful memorial. And our people are very proud of it. I feel very much at home here. For one thing, it shows what all people were willing to serve in this area. And I even got a daughter on there. She enlisted right out of high school into the Air Force, and that I'm very proud of. And I had 22 guys in my company get killed, and I bought stones for each one of them, which inlaid. My company's emblem is a diamond, and it's in the shape of a diamond in the memorial. And I go out there every once in a while. It just gives me. But yes, that memorial means very much, and we On Memorial Day, we fly flags around for every guy that did not come back. And I think the village is very, very close to their veterans. They support them very much. So many people do not expect to see what they see when they come to this town. And when they turn down that street, it totally shocks them to see what is there. And for any veteran, I think it really gets them in the heart. And I think it makes them feel so much better seeing something like that.
Some emotion there at the end of that last story block. And Dietrich, this is our story. 2 stories on the military, the Machine Gun Company, and Donnie Dorn's story there on the Dietrich Veterans Memorial. Certainly tugged at our hearts while we were putting them together.
Very much so did. And Donnie is here in the house with us tonight on the other side of the studio. Wave over there, Donnie. We're so thankful for your service as well. We appreciate all of the veterans, and thank you for being here tonight with us, Donnie.
Also heard from Tom Niebrugge and the Dietrich Bank.
And we heard about the village from the village mayor and Brittany Gibson. We also heard about the red top capital of the world.
How about that? Every community's got to be #1 at something, right? And many years ago, the red top capital of the world was Dietrich, Illinois. We're talking about grass seed there. Beautiful, beautiful building there in Dietrich. Pretty much, for me, the center point when I went down to get some B-roll one day. B-roll is code for video. And it's pretty much every direction you look, there's that building, the seed building.
Yeah, you can't miss it for sure. Now our operators are standing by right here behind us. They're all from Dietrich, and they're storytellers and supporters of the program. Some of them are champions. They helped get this show off the ground for us. So you need to call the number at the bottom of your screen to talk with them right now to get your copy of the program. We're offering flash drives tonight for the very first time. We're offering Blu-rays, we're offering DVDs, and so you can call that number. You can talk to one of the folks from Dietrich, Illinois tonight and get a copy of that program so you can keep forever. You can give it as a gift. They're great gifts. They're great archives to have from Dietrich, Illinois. So speaking about one of our champions and storytellers, I'm here with Brittany Gibson. We're so glad that you're here with us tonight. And if your phone rings, I'm gonna let you get it. But you know, you were the first person that toured us around Dietrich, Illinois, and it was a great opportunity to learn about your town. But you know, that really opened our eyes up to how much Dietrich really has to offer. So, you know, you're not from there, as we heard, but it's your hometown now.
It is.
So tell us how you feel about that.
Dietrich is truly a special place. I can't fathom raising my family, working in any other community. Whenever we moved to Dietrich, we were completely embraced and made to feel like we've always been there and that people wanted us to be there. And this show gives the world, the rest of the world, to see the opportunity why Dietrich is so special, and why it means so much to all of us in the studio, and that's been a part of this program. So we're really excited to share our story with the world.
Well, I'm glad that you did, and now I'm glad that more people know about Dietrich, Illinois, how much it's grown, how much they do there, and the going saying is, why not Dietrich? And you're going to hear that throughout the evening. So we're glad you're here tonight, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
Ramin, over to you.
And I'm joined by the mayor of Dietrich, Brad Hardick. You and Brittany were storytellers together in the story about the last 30 years of growth in Dietrich. You are a native of Dietrich. How proud of you of your hometown community and all that you've accomplished over the past 30 years?
I couldn't be more proud of what we've done in the last 30 years, and it started way before I took over. You got Keith Lewis and Burl Griffith before me, and they both did wonderful jobs, and appreciate everything they've done.
As the phones are ringing, I'm going to ask you a quick bonus question, kind of what I talked about in my first interview in the previous block. So many of these stories, you are in a smaller community, but so many of these stories show how just intertwined everyone is in the community. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a group effort from everybody, all the citizens, all the groups in town. It's amazing what several people can get accomplished.
Well, kudos to the community of Dietrich. We appreciate your efforts to help us with this program, and thank you for sharing a few thoughts on your hometown.
Thank you very much.
Back over to Keanne.
All right, once again, we're offering a copy of the program tonight. You can get as many copies as you want. We're having DVDs offered, Blu-rays, flash drives. One copy is $75, 2 or more are $60 each. So you need to call in right now. We've got 2 operators available right now, and they're waiting to take your call.
Certainly need to hear a little bit more noise here as we're in the middle of the program here. We have some names we're going to read off here, but you hear about how intertwined Dietrich is in all of the things they do. There's still more to hear about that. It really is, from start to finish, just a total community effort in everything that you see in Dietrich, past, present, and moving forward.
That's right. They do it together down there and they get the job done. And speaking of support tonight, we have Donnie from Dietrich, Donnie and Karen over on the other side of the set. You just heard his story. He is supporting tonight's program as well. And Renee from Dietrich called in and wants a copy of the program. So thank you so much, Renee, for calling and supporting this program tonight.
In our next block of stories, we're going to hear about Higgs Welding, the Wright Family Center. You won't want to miss that. Mapping the Future, and Dietrich Volunteerism. A perfect ending to this program for sure. Can't wait for you guys to see those 4 stories.
Now, we saw a lot of people in the Dietrich Bank story, and
Yes.
Tom Nieberge was a great storyteller for that. He also has a helper on the side that helped get that story for us. Her name is Brenda Krager. She's in the other side of the building right now with us in the production control room
Brenda.
behind the scenes. Thank you so much for being a champion, Brenda. We appreciate all the work that you have done as well.
How about Tom? I was talking with someone in our control room as the stories were rolling. Tom, over 40 years with the Dietrich Bank. That's unheard of, hearing of a person being at one place for so long, and that's a testament to him, of this community, and what working with the bank is.
For sure. And another person that we're going to be talking to here in just a moment is Donnie. And you know, when you drive down that road and you see that memorial, it really is a heartfelt moment. It's beautiful, and it's something to be very proud of, to honor all of the veterans from Dietrich, Illinois. So Ramin is going to go over on the other side of the set, and he's going to chat just a moment with Donnie Dorn.
All right, we've moved over to the home set. I'm joined by Donnie Dorn, who told our story about the Veterans Memorial there in Dietrich, a very beautiful memorial. And Donnie, we ended that last segment with a couple of stories about the veterans in Dietrich. The machine gun company kind of led into your story. Talk about the importance in the community of Dietrich, the veterans from so many years ago to now.
Well, back when they formed the machine gun company, the community went on, they built the archway.
No price difference. Nope.
Machine gun. And then later on, they incorporated.
Flash drive? Okay. All right. We got you down. Thank you so much, Vicki. This was awesome. I didn't know there was going to be a watch party in Kansas.
In your story, I could certainly feel the power and emotion of what that memorial means to you. If you could maybe share a little bit more of that with our viewers at home.
It means a whole lot to me. I have family on there, and I even put in all the guys that I served with in Vietnam that did not come back, and put them in the stones on the floor of the memorial, and it means so much to me.
Well, thank you so much, Donnie. As I see on your shirt there, you're a Bronze Star recipient from serving in the Vietnam War. We appreciate your service, and thank you for sharing your story on this program.
Thank you.
Back over to Keanne.
All right, we've got operators standing by once again. We've got orders coming in for the copy of the program, and we've got some shout outs that we need to give, and I'm going to be getting those right now. We've got a few people that have called. Do you want to give a couple shout outs here, Ramin?
Sure, we have Wendy from Effingham, thank you very much, and Teresa, another one from Dietrich.
And I have Gary from Dietrich. Thank you all for supporting Dietrich. This is our story.
Thank you for supporting WEIU as well. This is definitely a program that we put a lot of work into. This is our 18th Our Story program. Over 10 years now, we've been working on this project, been to so many wonderful communities. This is our third one in Effingham County, so we've kind of come full circle. And this is a way for us to also help generate maybe a little bit for us, because it is a little bit of work for us to put these together, but we enjoy it very much.
We do. We learn a lot. And you know, something that's great about this is that the people who have called Dietrich their hometown for all of their life, when they watch this program, they're like, hey, I didn't know that. I really learned something about my town.
That is the beauty of this program. And when a week before we do this live night, we have a premiere night in the community that we feature, and we are batting 1,000 on leaving that event, and people that have lived in those communities forever. I learned something, and I've been here my whole life.
Yeah, it's great, and it's an educational experience for us. We really enjoy it. You know, we have some other thank yous we want to shout out to: the Wright Family Center, Waltman Heron Insurance, and Diana Heron, who's right back here. Wright's Furniture and Flooring, Cookie Creations by Tina Brummer, The Giving Plate, Carrie and Donnie Dorn, Donwell Distributing, and Kerner Distributor. It's talking about our red carpet premiere. They were all supportive of that last Thursday night as well. So thank you so much for your support too.
And where we held the premiere night of Dietrich, This Is Our Story, you're going to learn about that in our next block. The Wright Family Center is the second story. We kicked the things off with Higgs Welding, Wright Family Center, Mapping the Future, and Dietrich Volunteerism. Those are the final 4 stories in this program on Dietrich.
So don't go anywhere. We're getting right back to the show. Make sure you can give us a call whether you're watching or whether we're on break. Back to Dietrich, This Is Our Story.